Fox in series last summer. So this is a team that, you know, despite the synergy, hasn't actually done too much in the Academy League. And
we talk about synergy, we talk about how it's good to have that practice, have that sort of reputation with one another. But when you have that record, that negative record like that, it starts to beg the question, what are we doing wrong here? Because obviously, not everything is falling into place. So let's go ahead, take a look at exactly how we're going to start off this picks and ban phase. It's going to be Ryze, Kalista, Zoe, banned away by CLG Gaming Academy. CLG going to respond with the Evelynn and Kog'Maw bans, one left to go for them before we finally get into the picks. And it looks like it's Azir taking that big staple out of the mid lane.
Yep, you're hitting a couple of the most common champions right now. AD carry and mid lane both have a couple with it, Zoe and Azir, as well as Kog'Maw, Kalista, Ezreal, all being champions that you tend to see on this ban list. And then no surprise, as we were just mentioning, CLG Gaming grab what is one of the few OPs left up here with unnerfed Kleptomancy Ezreal.
Unnerfed Klepto. That's always one of the interesting times when you're still watching professional play, and there's been a couple patches since then. You got to remember what's still unnerfed and what has been nerfed and sort of where everything stands. But Klepto, very, very strong right now in the 8.1 patch.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where you go back, you watch these games after playing on 8.2 a couple days, and you're like, yeah, that was annoying. I am very glad that's gone
really
now.
Glad that's gone.
Yeah.
Speaking of annoying, though, we're going to unbench the Kench yet again. We've been seeing a lot of popularity on this champion. People have been complaining that the stopwatch meta feels like it's slowing things down. It's very risk-averse. It makes players second-guess when they want to make a move. And before stopwatch was ever even an idea in the back of someone's mind, Tahm Kench was devouring people and shutting down playmaking.
Yep, Tahm Kench, the ultimate blocker down there, just constantly getting in the way of trying to find kills. 2 summoners for 1 if you eat somebody in flashes. Just so much defensive capabilities. Can be used offensively, which I feel like is something people sometimes overlook when talking about him, because he does have that global map mobility with his ultimate.
Right.
But it is less seen than, of course, the defensive play.
Yeah, the defensive play sitting on top of the AD carry, very, very strong. They are going to go ahead, lock in that Sejuani for themselves as well. So powerful initiation, a lot of lockdown potential, obviously huge front line to allow this team to craft the rest of their composition around. While CLG Gaming, they go for the Braum and they go for the Malzahar. We mentioned earlier with the Azir and Ryze banned away, talking about those staples in mid. There's the third one.
Yep, that's another one. And interestingly, you know, Sun hovers Zed every time. If you knew him before, he was kind of ZX in solo queue. So no surprise, you'll see a lot of those hovers. Probably never going to get locked in for a while here.
We can hope. We can hope.
We can hope. Probably not into Tahm Kench.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But Corki is going to be the response to that for now, rounding out this first part.
Corki is a champion that I've had my eye on a little bit for 8.1. I expected to see it last weekend, didn't see it, and then in Korea, Lava played it and absolutely destroyed some people, got the first pentakill of the LCK on it. It uses the Fleet Footwork Overheal rune setup that you see in the bot lane for the most part. Obviously, it doesn't take Targon Shield, but it does give it a lot of stickiness in lane where it's able to constantly heal itself up, and you can make use of those runes without Relic Shield and without being in the bot lane.
All right, let's see what these guys want to go ahead and ban out as we head into the second part of the bans. Jarvan removed by CLG. Clutch going to go ahead and respond by eliminating the Urgot. All right, that's one I wasn't expecting. We talked about unique picks and how sometimes Academy gets a little bit crazy, and Urgot is not normally one of those things you expect to see at all.
No, not really. I mean,
unless you're up against Gam.
Yeah, Gam played it, CLG Academy played it last weekend to not very impressive results, and sometimes it's just get rid of the unknown. Right. Yeah, it didn't look great last weekend, but we've never played against it, so let's just take it off the table. So not too much of a surprise. I mean, I guess it is a surprise. Even then, you're just like, yeah, play the Urgot. Please beat me with it. Show me how it's done.
Yeah, you don't want to risk the question marks, pretty much, right? So the Zac removed by CLG Academy. We talked about how in the games that we didn't get to see yesterday, Moon went off on the Zac. So I'm not honestly too surprised to see CLG saying, okay, we don't want to allow him on that. Don't want to allow him to have that big ganker, big initiator. Camille taken out by CLG Gaming. 2 more picks to go on each side. CLG up first. What do they take here? They've already got a tanky support. They've got a tanky jungler, and it looks like that means they're freed up to take a carry in the top lane with GP.
Yep, pretty interesting to see that CLG Gaming put so many bans up in the top side, getting rid of a lot of those individual split push / carry threats, and then GP just goes over to CLG Academy. Yeah. So, you know, a little surprising there. CLG banned out a lot of the junglers as they had taken the Sejuani, and Clutch had not matched, so we'll have to see what they grab. Looks like the Kazakhs.
All right, Kazakhs locked in. We're seeing so many of these top-tier picks. You've got Ezreal, you've got Gangplank, both with unnerved Kleptomancy. You've got Kazakhs, you've got Malzahar. Lots and lots of really, really like S-tier or maybe like A++ tier champions in this game.
Right, and I mean, Clutch Gaming has thus far looked a little bit better than CLG, so you have to think that's good for them that they're getting these mostly stable picks, nothing too crazy coming in out of CLG. Going to round it out with a Gnar, a very strong champion into Gangplank. Will have lane pressure for almost the entire early game, and it's just about making sure that Fallen Bandit in the top lane does not get dove or does not end up too far behind.
Right, that's the problem when you play these carries in the top lane, right? You're not playing a Maokai, you're not playing something that's always going to have that CC element, that's always going to be naturally tanky and contribute. If Gangplank falls behind, you've got a carry that does no damage. You've essentially just got a dead weight in the top side. You've got to make sure that he doesn't get set too far back. He is going to be going up against the Gnar, as the final pick on the side of CLG Academy will be Varus in response.
Varus is a champion that we haven't seen a ton of thus far, but I still think he's great. Obviously, there's a lot of different build paths you can go with him. Ginsu's being one of the more common ones, and then he just brings a lot of utility into the actual game where you have more pick-off potential, more follow-up, and a pretty stable laning phase.
Plus, after a couple weeks, at least I'm getting used to the new splash art, so I can tell it it's Varus when it's first locked in.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop the first time. I was like, what did they just pick?
Yeah, you kind of struggle a little bit to figure out what the pick actually was in that case. But the rosters are locked in. Again, CLG Academy still looking to find that first win. One of 2 remaining winless teams after a week and a half of play. They've still got one last chance here in week 2 to head into the 3rd week with a win under their belts. Clutch Gaming, of course, wanting to shut that one down. They've got themselves quite a lineup to do it with. We already talked about the power of the picks on both these teams, so it's just going to come down now to who executes it better.
That is always the question. And both teams have pretty clear focuses early on. Obviously, you can expect Clutch Gaming to be heading up to the top side, trying to get in on that GP, hold him down a little bit, get some dives off, build a CS lead, break his turret if you can. Ezreal, a lot harder to gank on the bot side, so CLG are mostly looking to hang on for a lot of this laning phase, and then hopefully their superior team fight will come in, because Corki's not too bad into Malzahar. You can poke off that spell shield extremely easily, and then you can just keep chunking him low, make it hard and dangerous for him to flash in, going for that initiate if he's at half health or something.
I mean, that's one of the cool parts about Corki, right? That low cooldown, high spammability poke potential. It really does wonders against something like Malzahar, where that shield is a huge resource. It is one of the things that makes him so effective. And when you can nullify that much more easily than some other champions can, it makes your job at least a little bit easier, especially if Omar wants to come in for the gank, because you've got to set Sejuani up for that CC.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the fleet footwork mastery on that Corki. Not 100% sure what he's taking for his other runes in the precision tree, because there are a couple different paths I've seen people go. I personally like the overheal route, but some people opt for more damage focus in their laning phase.
All right, minions are about to collide. Let's see how these 2 teams want to go about playing it. Again, Kozik's a champion that we know can get into the lanes early, have those effective early ganks, a lot of damage potential. Omar God on the Sejuani, not going to be a slouch either. Remember, Omar God was the guy that we saw sort of subbed into the main CLG roster last year, right? He came in towards the end when the team parted ways with Dardoch. He didn't quite accomplish everything they were looking for him to accomplish, but it was going to be a very tall order to do that anyway, considering CLG was heading into the playoffs and things of that nature. Now he's on the Academy team, looking to prove himself.
Yep, it's back to the development league a little bit to get more time under his belt, because he did struggle to keep up with a lot of the LCS junglers. And Moon, also a former LCS jungler, is going to be great competition for him here to make sure that he's going to be up to par with what he's going to be hoping to face in the coming weeks and months. He's going with that fleet footwork Sejuani as well, just a little bit better clear, higher HP. There's some smaller advantages like the move speed allows you to land your W's and things like that.
And I mean, talking about Moon, you're looking at a guy who was on FlyQuest last year. And on FlyQuest, I mean, that team was predicted by a lot of people going into spring of 2017 to be a lower tier team. A lot of people weren't expecting a lot out of FlyQuest. They come out the gate swinging, they win a ton of games, and so much of that success is off the back of this guy that you can now see getting into a 1v1 with Omar God. Tuesday coming over the wall, looking to join into this one. Moon taken low, nearly going to be taken down, but it's Omar who's also now in some danger. Flashes from both sides. The Sun's able to grab the first blood. Moon still walking away. Will go down to Tuesday eventually. Gnar works his way towards the mix, throws the boomerang over the wall. That TP was not what he was looking for, and that's a double kill for Sun.
Good collapse by CLG Academy. Corki able to get involved a little bit faster, but it took them longer to burst down Moon than they would have anticipated, so they're able to continue skirmishing that out. You saw both mid laners chasing down both junglers there before Sun was able to turn around. And so here you see there was a ward, so Omar God knew Moon was coming in. They tried to get the collapse on him faster, but there's just a little bit better early brawling capabilities for Moon. So he's able to heal up with his W's, gets another heal from Sun, so they have an extra combat summoner, whereas Tuesday is bringing that teleport. So that is enough to stall out this fight. Obviously, Max Strobo, having the push in the top lane against GP, is able to collapse and help out there as well.
And the teleport from Tuesday there was just really unfortunate. It's like, I think he thought, maybe I can get away with this. Maybe his auto attacks won't kill me in time, but I think that was a little bit greedy.
It's when you see like the cool kids do something and you want to try it, teleporting out of dangerous situations, but they didn't need the CC to kill you. They have the damage. So sometimes you do that because there's no hard CC left and you hope you make it out in time. That was a bit of a pipe dream, and now he didn't have teleport to get back to lane as quickly.
Right, it costs him a little bit. Shouldn't set him behind too awful much. It's not like we're at the point in the game where he's got to have it for Baron and they're going to lose huge amounts of map pressure or anything like that. But just one of those smaller errors that after the game you look back and say, okay, that's one of the places we can improve. That's one of those minor mistakes that we can shape up for next time. As you can see, Moon, again, going towards the CLG jungle, going to be looking to prowl around a bit. They've got no vision of where he's going right now. He'll lay down some of his own with that tracker's knife just to keep track of MarkZ's movements. If he's going to be going around that top side of the map looking for one of the solo laners, Moon's going to be aware of that. The whole team's going to be aware of that. It allows Moon so much more freedom.
Yeah, Moon's going to want to have a lot of freedom in this game. Now that Sun and Moon are so far ahead off that 2v2 in the jungle, mid-river there, that they can just keep trying to snowball that. It's extremely hard for Corki to keep up against a lost chapter finish on the Malzahar. Has that double buff as well from that skirmish, so he's going to be on the back foot for a period of time here. And once they get their level 6s, and with summoners down, you can expect a lot of aggressive plays between that duo.
And honestly, Mark, this game right now is so close in terms of the farm. If you look at every single lane, they're all just deadlocked. Top lane is even, the jungle is even, the mid lane is even, the bottom lane is even. And the gold difference between these two teams is legitimately just the one kill that surfaced extra for Clutch Gaming in that initial skirmish. So in terms of the farm, in terms of the individual player micro ability to secure gold in lane, everybody's on the same level.
And this is one of the reasons people are so, I guess, critical of CLG Academy a little bit, where, yeah, they're individually matching up fine, and they've been together forever, so they should have the best synergy.
It should work!
And then it doesn't. And so it's very strange to watch them have that kind of problem. And once again here on the back foot, it's going to be on Clutch Gaming to kind of snowball this advantage now with that stronger combination. And once again, jumping on MarkZ.
Same place as before. MarkZ running away, but he's running into enemy territory. Going to be silenced up there by Sun. Sun does have the ultimate, remember. Malzahar should just be able to drop that. Moon waiting right there for the damage, and Omar caught out of position, taken down for the second time this game.
Lack of synergy once again there. You know, you're pushed in the mid lane. Sun wraps around from the backside as Moon had jumped on top of him. He has nowhere left to go, has to try and cut through enemy territory and gets cut off. So a very disappointing start here, once again, for CLG.
And Omar's this player who, for a long time, was known for Olaf, and he was known for Gragas, right? Like, those were his champions, which are pretty big frontliners themselves. But one of the big criticisms that he came under fire for when he was performing in LCS with CLG in summer 2017 was his positioning would sometimes be off. Like what you saw right there, where it was like, okay, this could work, but not all the details are lining up right, and it just ends up coming back to bite him. So very unfortunate there, as you can see, the top lane going about the way you would expect it for a Gnar in the early game.
Yep, but not too bad, you know, about a wave of CS down between the GP and the Gnar. That's pretty acceptable. It does get a little bit more rough as the Gnar starts gaining more levels, can spam his Q a little bit more often, hyper procs start earning a little bit more, and that's when you really start feeling the pressure underneath your turret. But it's also not too bad for GP because he still has his stopwatch, which has now come online. He has his ultimate, so any dive that might come in will be difficult if it's not a well-coordinated three-man dive by Clutch.
And you saw on your screen right there for just a split second, Moon hits level 6 in the jungle, immediately starts to evolve the active camouflage. The choice from many Kha'Zixes these days, it allows you to move around the jungle so much more easily. He's invisible as he goes from brush to brush. He shows up there, and by the time MarkZ realizes he's there, Moon has already started up taking that enemy red buff. We'll have to see if this turns into anything. I'm really hoping it does.
Well, you gotta hope not. The support is there. It's very dangerous to try and take this fight. Here comes Sun wrapping around the backside.
All right, good job by Omar to secure the buff, but now the rest of Clutch Gaming looking to get themselves out. CLG collapsing onto that Braum, looking to take him down. Package delivery comes in, but it's Sun with the counterattack. Utilizing the power of the Malzahar ulti, going to be gobbled up by Phil, who grabs the kill into Vulcan. MarkZ now looking to get away. Does manage to escape this time before he gets brought down again, and that will be 1-0 going over to CLG.
Bit of a crazy skirmish in the top side there, but Phil and Tuesday coordinating well to make sure he doesn't go down. It's always dangerous when you see those package teleport plays, diving in the middle of 3 people, but got that Tahm Kench support, and that's what we were talking about, why it is such a strong pick in blocking those kill attempts, and especially surprising that, you know, Sun took the Malzahar after seeing the Tahm Kench. That is one of the frustrations, one of the few champions that really does frustrate Malzahar.
I mean, Tahm Kench is essentially a go crazy button for one of his allies, right? Normally, you're a little bit skeptical about packaging into 3 people. It's a little bit of a risky venture, but if you got Tahm Kench right there, no more worries.
It starts out well as Clutch Gaming was a little split. Sun wanted to come wrap around and cut their escape off, but instead CLG dropped that Gangplank ultimate to go aggressive themselves. You see Tuesday coming in as well, and right when he starts taking damage, Phil grabs him, runs at Vulcan, drops him off right next to him to get the kill and take his regular Valkyrie out, and then Gnar misses that boomerang, and even if he did hit it, not sure he would have ran forward with Fallen Bandit coming into support.
Yeah, you never know exactly how that would have played out, but the important thing is he didn't hit it, it didn't go that way. Omar stays alive, 0-2 and 2 on the Sejuani now, got the Cinder Hook fully completed. 3-2 for Clutch Gaming, and they've got 600 gold as the lead to their name. First Drake is Ocean, which, unless you see a team take it really, really early, a lot of times isn't a super high priority because it's not an Infernal Drake. So I'm not expecting to see a whole lot of attention paid towards that right now, but one thing I am paying a lot of attention to, first itemization from this Corki for Tuesday, getting the QSS before even having the completed Trinity Force. It's going to slow that power spike down, but it is going to shut down Malzahar's ability to make plays on him.
Absolutely, and you can understand why he felt like it was more of a rush item. I'm not sure he would have built that before his Trinity Force usually, but given that Sun was already 2-0 and 1, you feel a little bit more pressure to the Malzahar ult, so understandable to grab that right away. And Corki, because he does build components, it's not like he's waiting on one massive power spike. Phage is still useful, Sheen is still useful. Just clogs your inventory a fair amount.
Yeah, it's the nice part about Trinity Force, right? You get to build it out of 3 minor items as Eclipse, forced to flash away. Gangplank ulti also going to be brought down. Phil and Auto chasing after. One more auto attack should do it. Looks to go for the tongue instead, and Phil's going to grab himself the kill. Now you've got the Glacial Fissure coming in, looking to lock him down. That's going to be 1-for-1 at least, but the fight is not going to be stopping there. Max Trobo getting in there with the Mega Gnar, not quite able to follow it up with the wallop that he wants as Sun rotates over to drop the gate and make sure that they cannot go any further thanks to that silence. Fight ends 1-for-1.
Bit of a loose fight there as Max Trobo, instead of trying to throw them into the wall, which he might have been able to reach, just threw them back. But they didn't really end up under turret range. The rest of Clutch Gaming wasn't really in place to follow up after that. So both teams were able to disengage after it felt like CLG had gone a little deep under that turret.
And you can see CLG going by that Drake there, taking a couple hits from that, but with Moon hanging around, you don't really want to continue that anymore. Not the best idea.
Yep.
All right, so Clutch Gaming, 19.7 thousand gold. This is how they got there.
Yep, and so Eclipse just a little bit too far forward. It's understandable that you're Ezreal, you feel slippery, but with all the summoners available, they're able to chase that down. GPL coming in as well. They start going on to Phil. They're going to be able to get him killed instantly. And right as Max Trobo ults here, I thought he was going to throw Tuesday into the wall to try and hold him in place for Sun. Instead, just knocks him back. Not as much CC. Doesn't actually land the W either, so pretty easy for CLG to get out of there.
Well, you've got some playmaking coming in here into the mid lane. It's Omar, God, and Phil together. Going to force the flash away from Sun, so they'll spin the Tahm Kench ultimate. They'll get the flash from the mid laner for it. I'm going to call that worth.
Oh, absolutely worth. I mean, that's one of the scariest things about the Malzahar is that flash ultimate engage. You already had your QSS to make sure you couldn't die, but it's always still scary for your jungler. So it's a mini objective to get that one down. Kind of denies a lot of the playmaking Malzahar can bring.
All right, CLG Academy, down 1 kill. Down 500 gold, so it's not a crazy lead. It's not something that these guys are looking at and saying, oh man, we're really stuck in a bad spot right now. It's a slight disadvantage, but again, it goes back to what we've been talking about these guys, how the concern for them is their team play. The concern for them is, where is this synergy that this team should have after playing together for so long? And right now, they don't have what they need to be in a spot to contest an objective like this, so the first Drake just goes over to Clutch Gaming.
Drake, like you said, was Ocean Drake. Not the end of the world to give that one up.
Nope.
And without the GP ultimate, still coming off cooldown in the second here, it's understandable to not want to fight too hard at that one. And like you said, relatively even game here for Clutch, or excuse me, CLG, and they have a bit of a late game team fight, which I think should favor them a little bit, assuming the GP can land his barrel combos and everything. So this would be a great game to test if that synergy is on point or not.
All right, taking a look at where the items are lying. You can see the completed jungle items for both of your junglers. Cinderhulk was picked up a little bit ago by MarkZ. Moon, now with his mobility boots and his warrior enchantment both completed, means he's going to have that mobility between the lanes that the Kha'Zix wants to have, especially if you evolve the R first. That's what you're looking to do, be all over the map, be all throughout the jungle, take advantage of those constant stealths and movement speed bonuses. Black Cleaver still not quite done for the Gnar. Gangplank and Corki working on those Trinity forces as well, as Tuesday does have a package to deliver, but all too often that is difficult to find the mark on, but they will make their way on to Sun, who pops the stopwatch, staying alive for now, but with the entire team there, there's just no way out.
MarkZ whiffing the ultimate a little bit there, but there was enough reinforcement on the way. Didn't actually need to land that one, and we talked about Sun.
Let's send a message.
Yeah, it's just, I don't even need this.
Yep. Gonna throw it over this way, and we still got you, because we got 4 people here ready to collapse.
Yeah, Sun no flash after that initial gank attempt. We talked about how that was shutting down. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Tuesday gonna be jumped on by Moon here, who gets some decent damage down onto his opponent. That's so difficult to play around when the Kha'Zix does have the R evolved, because he'll get the stealth from being in the brush, and then before it expires, he'll activate the real ult. So he gets 3.5 seconds of stealth and just shows up on top of him.
And with that chunk out, they're actually gonna be able to teleport Sun back in and grab first turret for themselves, trying to snowball that game, and being able to take that mid one down is actually very, very important now that they can get up to the top side and hopefully start punishing Fallen Bandit, who has fallen about 30 CS behind.
But at least he's Gangplank. He's still going to be getting the extra money from the parlay, still going to get extra money from Kleptomancy. You can see the gold comparison between the two. Despite the fact that it's 30 CS, it's actually about 49 gold, just because of the fact that Gangplank is Gangplank, so...
Printing money.
Yep. Fallen Bandit, perfectly fine hanging around up there for now, as the Rift Herald drops to CLG Academy. I want to see what they do with this, because all too often, Mark, you see teams use the Rift Herald in wonky ways. I want to see a solid Rift Herald. I want to see Shelly get some real value this game.
Would be nice to see. Hopefully we do get that. There are some opportunities to use it. If you can push in mid lane and then run up to the top side and drop it off, that's a pretty good plan. Clutch Gaming has actually put their bot lane mid for right now. I'm not sure how long they're going to want to keep that, or if that's just a temporary thing.
Well, the poke's going to continue from Eclipse as he fires Mystic Shot after Mystic Shot into those minion waves. With Iceborne Gauntlet done, he's going to have a little bit of wave clear through that. Of course, it's still not amazing, but hey, it's better than not having anything on the base Ezreal kit. Trinity Force now done on the side of Tuesday, so he'll have that power spike here for himself. Teams still very even as we head more into the mid-game phase. With that first turret falling, you're going to start to see a lot more rotations, like you said, with the bottom lanes coming mid and everybody moving around. We're getting to that point in the game where now we get to see the team play. Now we get to see how you work as a coherent 5-man unit. Where do you put people? How do you assign these lanes? How do you make it so you get an advantage through the macro play?
And I like what Clutch Gaming's doing thus far. The 1-3-1, now that Sun has swapped Swift's teleport from his heal. It's on cooldown right now, but he will have that up eventually. And it does put Corki against the wall, so if you're trying to find angles to attack him, it's a little bit easier. You already took the mid turret down. Ezreal will just go free farm in mid lane. And it does set up a position here. Hold on.
Speaking of position, Moon not in the position he wants to be, popping that stopwatch to get away, using the flash into the jump. So close to going down there, but Moon with the clutch escape.
Yeah, really nice play out of him to stay alive, denied, giving that gold over, and it allows them to continue pressuring. Now if there's jungler still alive on the map, gonna heal up off those Krugs a little bit.
But hey, they got the stopwatch. You can only get to do that once, unless you build his Zonias, and you can do it all the time. But you only get to do it for free once. Moon popped his free one there, ends up being worth it because he stays alive. And like you said, now he's got to heal back up, though. He is going to be taken off the map for a little bit of time, but considering the Drake is still down, the Rift Herald is down, not that big of a deal.
Nope. But CLG, those kinds of plays are effective as they continue to stall this game out.
Next, Strobo and Fallen Bandit, 1 versus 1 on the top side. Gnar versus GP. Fallen Bandit putting up a good fight here, but I don't know who's going to walk away from this one victorious. One more boomerang could do it. Stopwatch popped. Not for any payoff this time around. Max Strobo taking a solo kill.
Just as we talk about how well Fallen Bandit has been doing at the top side, holding on, just some CS down, goes over and hands away that first solo kill for Max Strobo, and with that, a lot of turret damage.
Well, he did the Bandit part earlier when he stole all the money from the Gnar with Klepto, and now he did the Fallen part when he died to the Gnar. living up to his name, as now the turret is shortly going to be going down. You can see Max Trobo making quick work of that since he finally has some alone time with it, considering Fallen Bandit's still on the spawn platform for another 7 seconds. That's going to be a 2-0 turret lead for Clutch Gaming, which takes them up to almost 2,000 gold ahead. This is starting to actually balloon into a real lead that's going to start to determine what kind of fights CLG is allowed to take and when they just have to say, okay, we're done.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bit of a disaster in that sense where they had just gotten the jungler's flash and the stopwatch out. You're starting to get more limited. You have your mid lane stalling out with both AD carries, and you're free farming the top side. That's exactly what you want. But instead of just running away after you cleanse off that stun, you can just easily get out of this fight from here. Instead, just kind of opts into it, and once that barrel gets taken down by Max Trobo, you're missing the burst damage. You need to actually finish off the Gnar here. Loses his stopwatch as well. Goes down.
Very unfortunate for him. Package now armed on Tuesday again.
Hey, there's that Rift Herald usage you want
There's
to see,
the
right?
Rift Herald.
Just hold that minion wave.
It's bottom and attached minion. That's not what I wanted to see.
Oh, is it not?
This is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to see from Shelly this game.
Hey, Moon's getting some gold.
Well, Moon got a little bit of gold, and Shelly ended up giving a little bit of gold over to Tuesday. So some slight trades back and forth on that, but it doesn't really turn into much to write home about. I guess it occupies Tuesday, so he can't use his package. You could call that a win. He did get a gain off of the last package. Sometimes Corki struggles to find use for those early ones. Let's see what we get out of this mid lane potential fight here, as you've got members from both sides squaring off trade and poke. I don't know. Doesn't look like a whole lot, Mark.
Yep. The quests have mostly been completed for both AD carries, so they're just constantly getting these shields. They're getting heals from the relic shields. They're tanky as well. You cannot see much, but here comes Moon.
All right, Moon in there. Doesn't have the stopwatch available this time. Remember, trying to get himself away. MarkZ still looking to maybe finish off the kill. It's going to be Vulcan in some trouble, though. Moon dropping first. Vulcan likely going to be going down second. Stunned up. Brought down. There go 3. Clutch Gaming loses 4. CLG only losing 1. A double kill for MarkZ. Max Trobo shows up late to the party, and his only thanks is getting shut down. Tuesday grabs himself that one, and getting CLG Academy the ace for 1.
Ace out of nowhere in the mid lane. It comes after 20 minutes into the game, so Baron is up. They have Tuesday in the mid lane still alive, basically an 80 carry, so they're going to have plenty of damage here most likely to take this Baron down. There is a teleport on Max Trobo, and Kha'Zix is very, very fast with it.
But Max Trobo's still very, very dead too.
That is true, so they're not going to be able to come in and steal this Baron. Big disaster out of Clutch Gaming with that mid-team fight, as it was all over the place. You saw Sun coming in from a weird angle, Moon getting forced out extremely early on, and Clutch Gaming throw their lead away.
All right, let's take one more look at it here.
Yeah, so you see they start off on the auto, they get some damage down, and they want to kind of extend this fight, but they're kiting back through this GPL. So Eclipse and Moon drop down very low, Fallen Bandit teleports in a great spot to get that cleanup kill, and Sun ends up in the middle of everybody, just starts ulting a Tom Kench, which is not a very high priority target, and since he's in the middle of everyone, gets bursted down right after. Max Trobo did get that kill that they started off trying to get onto auto, but that's only 1 kill coming in. Clutch Gaming just could not pick a target and stick to him.
There's the coordination. CLG Academy coordinated that fight better, and it had an absolutely huge payoff for them. You're talking about a game that looked like it was lending itself towards Clutch going into the mid-game, but now CLG with a massive swing back, but can they get a lot out of this Baron? There's so much on this map for them to take. They have no turrets under their belt just yet. You've got everybody with the Baron buff. This is your opportunity to really make something happen and take over this game.
Absolutely, and they have 2.5 minutes to do that. Probably going to struggle to crack an inhib, given that, like you said, no turrets up, but get that gold lead and just keep ballooning it. You're already at about 3,000. You can get that up to 5 or 6 if you're able to start taking these turrets down. And Tuesday already working down against the Gnar. They've kind of offset the lane setup, so it's no longer mid laner versus mid laner. It's mid versus top, and MarkZ's coming to collapse.
MarkZ landing the ulti on that one. Max Trobo going to be taken down. A killing spree for MarkZ. Started off this game a little bit rough, but now starting to shine.
Absolutely, and this is the kind of the power of Corki that I was saying I was hoping to see more of. It's a champion that scales extremely well. You get that Triforce, you start building a couple more crit items, and you start chunking people out. And Gnar is notoriously squishy despite how annoying he is in that split push.
And you know, talking about this Baron buff and what they're going to get from it, you mentioned, yeah, it's going to be hard to crack an inhib. You've got a lot of ground to cover. But at the same time, when you've got multiple tier 1s still standing, those are just big old piles of money if you got Baron buff. You just walk up, take them. Enemy team often is a little bit scared of trying to save that. Mid lane, it looks like Phil and Otto will be putting almost enough damage in to take it, but not quite there. Phil presses the Tom Kench no fun button, carries Otto away to safety.
Yeah, but the turret got dropped down to about 10% HP, so that one's probably going to fall. While they're dealing with that mid and bot lane pressure, that of course leaves Fall and Bandit alone up in the top side, so he's going to grab his first outer turret of that lane. And like you said, that's a whole lot of gold sitting on the map. Started at 3K at the start of this Baron buff, already up to 6.
All right. Can they get this tier 1? Yep. That'll be easy for them. 0 turrets up to 4 now. Huge gold advantage, 7,000 the lead for CLG Academy as they move themselves into the Drake pit. It's a Cloud Drake, so again, not one of those high value Infernals or similar value as the game goes on Mountains, but they'll take what you can get.
Yeah, I mean, it's dessert. You know, you already had the main course of the 3 outer turrets. Yeah, what are we going to have for dessert? Oh, you know, I don't love molten lava cake. No, that's not a Cloud Drake.
Yeah, that's an
Inferno.
That's
yeah.
It even has molten in the name. So I don't know. We'll call it. What is a good dessert? That
well, you want a mediocre dessert, I guess.
Yeah. You want a mediocre dessert. You want one of those things that's actually supposed to be a healthy dessert option.
I mean, creme brulee is really good. I'm only thinking of good desserts.
Yeah, I don't. You're leading us down the wrong path, Mark. We'll come back to this later once we figure out what the dessert's actually supposed to be. But anyway, they got a semi-tasty dessert, about a 5 out of 10.
Apple pie from Denny's. That's
all right. Apple pie from Denny's, Drake, secured by the side of CLG Academy as they make their way away with the turrets under their belts now. Baron buff out of there, so they don't have to worry about defending against that again on the side of Clutch Gaming, at least for now, but they do have to worry about the fact that they're now down so much gold. CLG is firmly in the driver's seat.
And you see Clutch understands that they really can't fight head-on anymore, and so Moon is kind of shadowing Max Strobo here. They're hoping to find someone in the side lane, get some pick-off, stall this game out, and get some gold back in your pockets, because CLG Academy should be absolutely happy to just sit back, wait for the next Baron, and continue playing the objective game.
And while we have this little bit of downtime, I want to throw back to something that you brought up before this game even started, Mark, where we were talking about Moon's aspirations, what he wants to do with this game, how he wants to be one of the top contenders here in Academy League so he can get his spot back in the main LCS stage. And you compared him to Acadian, who came down and played for Optic in week number 1. But now, they're making the move on to Fallen Bandit here. Moon looking to find this one, should be able to get the damage on that, does walk away with it, but meanwhile it's going to be mid lane. CLG the ones looking to make the move as Vulcan gets himself away. Eclipse going to be surviving this one as well. Still trying to walk out. Your suppression comes down from the Malzahar onto the Tahm Kench. Does have the thick skin available to go. MarkZ over the wall. Otto going to grab the kill onto Eclipse though as you see the death also come there onto Sun. Vulcan drops. MarkZ going on a rampage with that one as they have the minions remaining in the mid lane to take down the tier 2.
And Max Strobo hunting for a kill. Gonna find Tuesday.
Just smacks him.
Right, a little bit of retribution to get back for a pretty good dive on the side of CLG Academy. 2 people down the bot lane, so you decide let's pull the trigger mid. And it looked like they had actually done a good job disengaging. Ezreal had gotten over the wall. Braum had got his shield up and wasn't taking too much damage. But then Sun finishes teleport, and once again, he ultimates the Tahm Kench. I mean, there's not really a great target, because if you ult someone near Tahm Kench, he saves them. Right. But all you're doing is locking yourself down in place, and you damage some guy who's probably not going to die anyways. So when you look at this replay, you'll see, despite basically being safe from this position, Sun ends up cutting himself off and putting them in there, as well as a pretty suspect shift forward out of Eclipse, puts him very low. He has to flash out. MarkZ follows. And what was a potentially good defense, they get a little over-eager, want to punish the Tahm Kench under turret. Hard to punish that frog.
It's the Kench conundrum. Do you want to waste all your stuff ulting this just big spongy frog? Or do you want to use it on somebody that's valuable that the big spongy frog is then just going to save?
Yeah. Either way, you could just do neither and just try and hold the turret, is what I would do.
That's crazy talk. Kench conundrum has 2 possible options. You either kill a Kench or you try to kill somebody else. Didn't work out.
Oversimplification, my favorite.
Oversimplification, exactly. That's what we're going into here. But what I was getting at before that whole fight broke out was the fact that when you compare Moon and his performance on this Kha'Zix to Acadian and his Kha'Zix week 1 performance that just absolutely decimated the entire game, there's a distinct difference there.
Absolutely, and I think that's kind of what people are looking out for is, well, they did get a massive lead in the mid-jungle 2v2. What'd they do with it? They went for a red buff invade that got turned around. They lost a kill on that, and then they kind of became non-factors over the course of the game. Sun made more mistakes than Moon did and kind of threw his lead away the hardest, but you know, Moon did not snowball. They did not get a 3-man up on the top side or anything, and they failed to kind of take that advantage and run with it, which is something that you're really looking for in the Academy League. Even if you're not winning games, you want to see intelligent, smart play.
For Moon, this game has been a little bit of a struggle, but It's not over until the Nexus explodes. He does have the Duskblade, the Hex Drinker, got the Phage now, working on the Black Cleaver, so going a little bit more towards those Bruiser-style items as opposed to a pure lethality Kha'Zix that just jumps out and one-shots you. And honestly, I like that because he's been running into a little bit of hardship so far. MarkZ trying to lead the charge here onto Vulcan. Moon jumping over the wall, firing off the rockets. Chains of Corruption come out. GP ulti starts pouring from the sky as Vulcan walks himself out of that one. 5 men strong. CLG Academy in the mid lane take control and set their sights on Baron.
Not too bad for Clutch Gaming, though. You get the Gangplank ultimate out. It's going to make the turn off Baron a little less threatening because he can't cut off an escape with that now. Braum was the only one who was really chunked out there. Going to heal up very quickly and run back into this fight. And
this map's awful dark, Mark.
It's a little scary. Kha'Zix running around blind.
Moon trying to go in there, jumps himself away, is going to be slowed down, is going to be ulted, is no more. Fallen Bandit grabbing the kill onto him, and considering that's the jungler, there's only one thing to do.
Yeah, no smite now. So CLG looking like they're going to try and push mid-wave before hopefully turning their eyes towards that Baron. There they go.
All right, they'll move themselves back towards the pit. They are going to be soaking some poke as they go back over there. The boomerangs and the mystic shots coming out from the Gnar and Ezreal respectively are going to cause a little bit of headache as they move back over. Moon still with 20 seconds left in the respawn timer. MarkZ consistently looking for something, not being able to find much of anything right now. You do still have your Braum for disengage. You got Sun in case anybody goes too far in. All right, now the call's on to Baron.
Yep, Tuesday gotten chunked out. He went back to base. Looking like he has grabbed a package, I believe. He's going to hurry back down here. Going to try and cut some people off. But Moon's up, and he's trying to get in range.
All right, there's your package delivery. Tuesday in the back line, but now trying to get himself away. Is going to be suppressed. No Kench around to save him, but he does have the QSS. Still goes down. CLG looking to do something with this fight, but they've already lost 2. It's a 3 versus 5. MarkZ goes back up the wall, leaves the Kench to be benched. A double kill for Sun. It's 4 for 0 over to the side to Clutch Gaming Academy, and it looks like it'll be a full 5 for nothing. The shutdown for Eclipse.
CLG Academy took way too long to get into that position.
Feels bad, man.
And then we talked about how dangerous it is when you get that package, Falcon into 3 people. It can feel pretty good, but no Tom Kench to support him this time.
There's no Kench there. He went all the way alone behind enemy lines on his super secret mission and then realized he forgot to take his super secret mission gear, and he was stuck.
He did have the QSS, burned it to get out of the suppression, but then he didn't flash the wall. I don't think he realized that Eclipse's Ezreal ultimate was going to clip him. Gets chunked down a little bit lower, and then it was too late to react. And as a result, Clutch Gaming were able to run a mid lane, take in him, and now set their eyes on Baron.
All right, on to Baron they go. CLG Academy only just now spawning. They are going to make a fight for this. Fallen Bandit Tuesday, the first ones in the mix. Vulcan raises the shield, looks to defend. Phil going to be bringing auto into this as well. Baron is smited early, but still secured by the side of Clutch. CLG moves in, mop and bucket, ready to clean these guys up. They get 3. Going to be going after Moon now too, seeing if maybe they can grab him here. Nobody actually blocks the escape route, so Moon doing pretty good running away from this one. GP ulti comes down. Phil tries to get the lick onto him, but Moon with some quick feet there will escape. So 2 men left alive on Clutch Gaming that have that Baron buff.
Able to grab that, but more importantly was the team fight before it and the turrets they grabbed in the mid lane. Able to shut down a lot of kills, get that gold lead down to only 4,000 from what I believe was around 8.
And with Baron left, you still have the opportunity to sack some of those turrets, make that gold lead even smaller.
Absolutely. So it's unfortunate you lost some people, maybe overextended a little bit from the Baron buff, but that gold should neutralize, and it's all about that team fight that you got right before it.
All right, CLG Academy grabbing themselves turret number 6, so that means they've got everything down outside of the enemy base. This is where the job always gets toughest, Mark. You see so many teams just hit a stone wall at those tier 3 turrets that they practically need Baron to break. Let's take another look at this Baron fight.
So you'll see Tuesday, like we said, jump in the middle of 3 people, tries to get out, gets locked down, does use his QSS, but doesn't flash out here, gets clipped there by the Ezreal ultimate, dropped down very quickly, and so he dies, and then the rest of the team have been kiting, trying to get in range of him, and they could not quite do it, so they end up getting caught out of position. You see all the flashes trying to get out, but they're in a choke point. It's very easy for the side of Clutch Gaming to chase them down, finish off MarkZ, and then here's that Baron force that went a little haywire.
Just a little bit. I mean, you can see that smite. Oh, that could have been a disaster. That was so close to being so bad, but good thing for them. Sun's ready. He pulls the trigger. They still get it. But now, what can they do with this remaining Baron buff? Pushing up the bottom lane, looking for a tier 2. This is the last remaining tier 2, well, one of the last remaining tier 2s on the side of CLG Academy as Clutch Gaming just decides, hey, you know what? Forget it. Let's get the Drake.
It's really hard on the side of Clutch Gaming to push forward into an Ezreal, Varus, and GP. All three of those champions have very respectable wave clear. And if you group up as 5, you're going to have a hard time pushing that turret in. So no surprise, CLG are able to push them back. They're pulling the trigger in mid.
All right, MarkZ going in. Able to land the ulti onto one. Vulcan locked down, but Braum is just so incredibly tanky. CLG Academy, the teleport was threatened. It is canceled. Vulcan taken very low, dies to the AoE on the big one. As Moon, Sun, and Eclipse all have to get their celestial bodies out of there. Max Trobo coming in from the side, seeing what he might be able to do on this one. CLG Academy continuing to kite themselves back, recognizing they've used a lot of resources so far. Don't want to press this any further, even though it may be a 5 versus 4. Memento sticking to MarkZ like glue until he transforms.
Bit of a misfight there on the side of Clutch Gaming. CLG initially engaged, both teams start backing off, but Max Trobo is teleporting in the middle of the fight as Mininar, so really no hope of being able to win that. Has to cancel his TP, else he's going to die. And once that happens, CLG realized, hey, we're in a 4v5, and they wanted to keep forcing.
All right, let's see what CLG can force onto Sun here. A catch onto the mid laner would be huge at this point. They'll take the blast cone over the wall. Omar fallen, Auto, everybody's chasing after him. He's not long for this world. It's just wasting as much time as he can at this point. MarkZ grabs the kill. Sun fades into Malefic Void stuff. And he's going to be in that Malefic Void stuff for another 50 seconds, which is a huge window of opportunity for CLG Academy to do whatever they want.
Right, absolutely. They can try and push up one of these lanes. Look like they might be sticking topside. Unfortunately for them, no neutral objectives available on the map, as Baron is still down and Elder will be spawning in quite a while because that Ocean Drake was just taken. So not too much they can actually get off that force, but it does stall out that Baron that, you know, Clutch Gaming was running out of time with anyways.
Tuesday has the package picked up, but to reiterate what you just said, there's not really a lot to fight for right now. There's no reason for Clutch Gaming to come out and say, yep, we got to fight. Corky's got package, but who cares? Let's get into a fight. Tuesday is likely not going to get a big payoff out of this one.
No, but he is huge for the game overall. 7, 3, and 8. 4 items completed. This is when Corky is devastating in fights. And you saw him chunk out Vulcan really heavily there when they decided that they could re-engage.
I mean, most farm in the game by quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
The 80 carries are 50 under him, and they're the only ones even close. Everybody else, he's got Flame Horizon and a half. But all he has to do is evolve or upgrade, excuse me, the QSS into the Mercurial Scimitar, which he does almost on cue.
Hey.
And you've got 6
scripted.
Scripted NA LCS itemization scripts. But, or NA Academy League itemization scripts. Yeah, we got to get the title right, Mark. But Tuesday now a massive threat in his own right. Like, when the Corky gets this big, when he has this much power behind him, this much crit, the extra lifesteal, becomes really difficult to deal with him unless he goes completely crazy again, delivers the package into 5 people without the Kench, then you might have a problem.
Yeah, you hope he plays a little bit more reserved, really realizing that he's the big threat in his team. It's hard to play that risky when you are the big threat. I like the aggressiveness, but you need to be willing to flash out much faster than he did there. You cannot afford to die. So hopefully he learned his lesson there. Still not too much MR on the side of Clutch Gaming. You see basically none on anybody other than, you know, a QSS.
I mean, Moon's got a Hex Drinker.
Yeah, Hex Drinker and Merc Treads.
That's not enough.
Vulcan has a little bit, but you're not really targeting him anyways. So if people get in range of Tuesday, he's probably going to melt through them very easily. I
mean, Max Trobo has a really offensive or greedy or whatever you want to call it type of build, going for Phantom Dancer 4th. I mean, it makes you scary in a 1 versus 1, but when you jump into the middle of 5 people, one of which is a 6-item Corky, and you got a Phantom Dancer?
Not doing too much.
There's going to be a bopping happening.
Yeah, so you can see that they're very clearly indexing into that kind of split push role. And funnily enough, Fallen Bandit has kind of gone a similar way, also grabbing that Phantom Dancer, realizing that he's going to be in a lot of 1v1s himself. And Moon trying to hover around Max Trobo, trying to get that split push working, because if they can finish off Fallen Bandit, hopefully they can start grabbing turrets, but not working out in the mid lane.
Moon does have the Black Cleaver done, working on getting the completed Maw of Malmortius now for a bit of extra magic defense, as well as, you know, just having that shield maybe that's the difference between staying alive or not staying alive when a big one from Corki does hit you. Sun clearing out the top wave. It's full defense mode right now for Clutch Gaming Academy. Otto and Phil trying to get that pinch onto Sun, but they can't quite do it. Instead, they'll just get the flash, which is big.
Yeah, absolutely. With Baron buff coming up right now, they've done a good job of setting up vision ahead of time in that topside jungle. They've pushed both lanes. They've made Clutch Gaming feel scared for even thinking of walking out, grabbing that flash out of Sun. They're going to be able to melt this one down uncontested.
Baron goes down almost instantly. CLG Academy, things were looking rough early. They took a turn for the better in the mid game. And now these guys are poised to have a really good shot at finding their first win. Moon going to be trapped up here as MarkZ front lines for his team, looking to make the push that could end the game. Eclipse over the wall, barely going to be kept alive. The counterattack coming out from Max Trobo, trying to stay in the middle, going to be killed instantly instead. Your Mal's ulti won't find much. MarkZ goes down, Sun going to be taken down next. Eclipse and Vulcan, the last two men standing on the side of Clutch Gaming Academy. They have taken down MarkZ. They procced a Guardian Angel as well, but 2 versus 4, not where you want to be.
No, a huge ultimate out of Max Trobo there as CLG was funneling through that choke point near Raptors, but no one was quite in range to follow up by the time Moon was dropping his ultimate. That target got eaten up by the Tahm Kench, and also Eclipse, or excuse me, Tuesday was not a part of that. So that huge Corki we've been talking about was not someone who was getting chain CC'd in that choke point. He was able to keep dealing damage, and now CLG Academy think they can end the game.
Here comes your game-ending push. Unless some sort of a miracle happens now for the Eclipse and Vulcan, this should be the CLG Academy win. Trying to go for the moves onto the Corki, instead going to be taken down with Eclipse out. That is all she wrote. Tuesday dominating. The ace comes out for Fallen Bandit, and CLG Academy will find their first win of the season.
Very nice win for them. Was a little risky during the early game, but they were able to bounce back off some good mid games. Still another lost team fight in the late game, so a lot of work to do for them, but finally stepping up and showing why it was worth keeping this team together for so long.
Yeah, the coordination around that fight near the Baron pit, the one where Tuesday goes all the way in, there were obviously some issues there. That's one you're going to go into, look at a little bit later, VOD review that fight, say, all right, this is what we can't do. Here's what we should have done instead. But overall, the team worked together better than Clutch Gaming Academy did. That's why they were able to find that win, get that initial Baron, and turn things around from the shaky early game.
And like you were saying also, that shaky early game was mostly off of some misfights in the mid-jungle 2v2 really early on. Otherwise, like you said during the cast, you know, they were even in CS for the most part, and they were able to keep up with them. The Gnar and the GP were relatively even despite the 30 CS deficit with the Kleptomancy and GP you know, being able to just print money. So they were doing a good job holding up. That's one of those comps where like, hey, if we're down 1,000 gold 20 minutes in, that's not bad at all.
It happens. You'll have some of those moments. And honestly, one of the biggest moments in this entire game was that 5-man ace, or the full ace, I guess I should just call it, that CLG was able to find at the 20-minute mark, seemingly out of nowhere.
Absolutely. You saw it was kind of initiated by Clutch Gaming. They jumped in. Now everyone has to jump out. The GP ult zoning. Sun and Max Drobo kind of go for this weird flank, but it ends up putting them in the middle of the team. Sun is now targeting a Tahm Kench. The rest of the side of CLG are able to focus him down. Then it's Max Drobo left alone now. He tries to jump in, but at this point it's too little, too late. And this was right after 20 minutes, so they pick a fight in one of the worst positions at the worst times, where if it goes bad, you basically lose the game off of it.
And they did end up losing their entire tempo in the game, at least for a while. Clutch Gaming found themselves falling behind for a long time, but for every shift in one direction, the pendulum has to go back in the other. And then 10 minutes later, around the 30-minute mark, we got to see that fateful fight that we were talking about from CLG here as Tuesday flies over the wall.
And like I said, I don't hate the idea of wanting to play aggressive, but once you get Malzahar ulted, once your team is trying to back you up, you got to flash out a little bit earlier there. It doesn't end up doing that, goes down right away. And because he was kind of baiting his entire team to be like, follow me, I'm a strong Corki, 1v9ing their backline, his team kites forward into him. Once he dies, they're in a bad spot. Give up that ace right back to the side of Clutch Gaming, and it looked like that could have gone bad. They end up running down mid lane, taking the inhibitor before they get too aggressive around Baron, and there was a back and forth of throws a little bit.
Yeah, the Baron, they obviously end up taking it. They lose 3 in the process, though. They aren't really able to profit a lot off of using the buff itself, so it doesn't actually end up swinging back for Clutch as hard as you think it might have been able to off of that, which then leads us to the final fight of the game, where CLG is able to close things out and find it in themselves to rally and get this.
Absolutely, and like we were saying, you know, they probably have the better team fight comp, so from this position they are expected to win despite kind of having that semi-throw. They're trying really hard to get down onto Moon there and not quite able to do it. Puts everyone in the choke point, and that leads to this massive ultimate. But you see Tuesday able to use his QSS and start kiting out of that fight while dropping a lot of damage down. Then everyone's low on the side. feels confident to valk forward. Meanwhile, the rest of his team was cleaning up Sun, who tried to get involved there, but there was not quite enough synergy with when Max Troba went in, with Moon re-engaging.
And I think confident is a good word to use in the conversation about this game, because now if you're CLG, you at least have some confidence moving forward into week number 3. I mean, coming from an organization that's one of the most long-standing organizations in North American League of Legends, coming from a team that, like you said, has been together longer than any of the other rosters, it would be really, really morale-breaking to go into week number 3 without a win. But now, CLG, they've got themselves on the board. They know that they can succeed. It's just more about hammering out those details and figuring out this doesn't work, and this is how we fix it.
Absolutely, and especially given that they have such a strong coaching staff and infrastructure, those are the kinds of improvements you expect to see. And given that they had been together for so long and they were struggling, it was kind of like, well, what's exactly wrong with this team? Is it the players aren't up to snuff? They're not getting quite enough support from the rest of the main organization? Why are they not improving and starting to push back some of these teams? But finally answering some of those questions here.
And for Clutch Gaming, a couple more questions are now going to rise up. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier, comparing Moon to Acadian and talking about his journey wanting to return to the LCS. Now you're in a spot where you're saying, okay, we got you an advantage early. We got you guys at the point where you should have been able to do more with the early game. Why did that stagnate? Why did that go nowhere? That's what you've got to ask if you're Clutch.
Absolutely, and with how big of an advantage that mid-jungle duo had, you expected them to take over the game. That one red buff invade turned sour as Sun was wrapping around a weird way, and I think this is one of the things you can hope to see an improvement from him out of, at least, because he is one of these fresh from solo queue kind of players.
Exactly.
Despite his immense talent, he does need to learn how to coordinate properly with a team. When you're Malzahar 2 kills ahead and double buffs 5 minutes into the game, you should take over that game.
Yeah, you should be able to have a pretty big impact in the game overall at that point. But now we are going to head into break for the first time, and when we come back, it's going to be TSM Academy versus Optic Academy. Don't go anywhere.